Welcome to the Sports on Pulse. I'm Gary Alsmith. Today, we are looking at the European transfers, one specifically with African interest. But before we go into the main matter, as you may have heard, Cristiano Ronaldo and his former coach, Jose Mourinho, have both now become, the pariahs in Spanish football. The latest update is that Jose Mourinho has also been accused of tax fraud, and this was when he was coach of Real Madrid. According to Spanish tax authorities, he hid money in offshore accounts and neglected to pay his tax obligations or fulfill his tax obligations with the Spanish state, and that ran into millions of dollars. More on that story, but Jose Mourinho officially has not commented. Manchester United have not commented as well, and he joins his countryman Cristiano Ronaldo in this new issue. Later, we'll be talking about how this may affect big players in world football going to Spain if they know that their reputations will be tarnished in this way. But like I said, today we speak about an African player who is moving to the English Premier League. Mohamed Salah is one of the topmost players in African football, and to match his stature, he's moving from AS Roma to Liverpool. That move is all but done. We'll be getting confirmation and also reaction to what that move means for the player, for his national team, and for his new club as well. We go to Egypt and speak now to Mohamed Salah as we get an update on that. But more on the transfers that are happening. Not much really is being reported, especially of Ghanaian players. It's set to be one of the transfer windows where Ghanaian players will not be having much to do. In the last three or so transfer windows, it's just been Andre Ayew and his brother Jordan, whose moves to West Ham United and Swansea respectively, that have been the big ones. Jordan Ayew to Aston Villa was also a big deal as well. But we'll be now looking at what Mohamed Salah to Liverpool means for the player and for the club as well. And that team played for Roma, and he used to be a former Chelsea player. Mohamed Osama is in Cairo in Egypt and will speak to us about that. Thank you for your time, Mohamed. Mohamed, thank you very much for joining us. He's a journalist who owns a stats website, very popular in Egypt, and also a correspondent for beIN Sports. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me, Gary.
Right. So, Salah to Liverpool, what are the details? We understand it will make him the joint top transfer for Liverpool.
Yeah, well, to understand now that he'll be arriving within the next 2 hours to London amid his contract thing, and tomorrow he has the scheduled medical to finalize all details.
Fantastic. So we understand that he moved from Egypt. He was in Egypt, right, before moving out?
Yes, he was on vacation here in Egypt, and he had a scheduled visit to his hometown, but he had to cancel that, so he arrived at the timing of the signing of the contract.
So throughout the time that the speculation was on and off about him moving to Liverpool, he was in Egypt. Did anybody speak to him, and how was he taking the news that he was going to be going back to the Premier League?
Say that again. Are you saying how are Egyptians taking the news that he's moving to Liverpool?
No. I mean, once he was in Egypt, did anybody attempt to speak to him in Egypt? And how was he, the player himself, taking the news that he'll be moving to Liverpool?
I had multiple friends meeting him at some point during his visit. I had a relative also meet him, and he looks cheerful. He's ready for the move. Everybody is excited, including him and the fans. So yeah, he's pretty excited and ready for the move.
What does it mean for him to go to the country where, he didn't have a great impact? I'm talking about his time at Chelsea. Do you think that he feels this will be a statement for him to show what he's got?
It certainly means a lot to Salah. He went on a stint at Chelsea, didn't improve his worth, maybe because he wasn't given the chance, and he was also ready to move back to the Premier League to prove otherwise, or the stigma he was known for in the Premier League. He scored, since he moved from the Premier League, he scored the goals for Roma more than any Liverpool side during the past 2 seasons. So he certainly proved his worth elsewhere, and he's ready to finally come back to England. and prove that he was worth what was paid to him before and what his value is at.
What does this move mean for Liverpool? In other words, how is Mohamed Salah going to improve Jurgen Klopp's side?
I think he adds a lot of quality to the team, mainly because Liverpool will be having Champions League football next season, Premier League, Cups, all that. It adds lots of depth and lots of options for Klopp. Salah is a very dynamic player and very flexible player. He can be played as a right wing, far hugging the
touch
line, always stretching play, making space for the likes of Coutinho and Lallana to come up and attack too. He can play as a false nine or a false attacking false forward in combination with other forwards. So it gives a lot of options, either right wing, either a false forward. He gives depth to the team.
And how are Egyptians taking the news that the player who is easily the best player in Egypt right now, or from Egypt right now?
Say that again, Gary.
How are Egyptians taking the news?
Obviously, before any Egyptians move to any abroad, first you have the Egyptians flooding the social media pages of the club, taking over it. Even some clubs before blocked Egyptians from liking the page on social media because they spammed the page. So there's that. The media here in Egypt, everybody is excited for Salah. It's always good news to see a player make it to the big leagues. We hadn't had a player play in the likes of Roma, Liverpool, and succeeding like Salah since we had Mido. So yeah, everybody's excited for him. Even the players here are excited to see a player do it on the big stage and look forward for the next step, or always dream, or it proves that their dream could happen one day to play at clubs like Liverpool or Chelsea.
Sure. Finally, remind us of the figure again. What is the official figure? We are hearing £35 million. Is that accurate?
What I have last heard, it's 40 million with a 5 million bonus, 5 million in bonuses.
Right.
So 40 is the transfer fee, and there's bonuses. I don't know what are the exact rules for the bonuses, like a certain number of goals or something else. But what I understand is 40 million euros is the final transfer fee with 5 million in bonuses.
Fantastic. Mohamed Osama, thank you very much for telling us about the latest with Mohamed Salah.
Thank you for having me, Gary.
Right, we appreciate it. And we caught him just as he was breaking his fast. And if you could hear him well, he was walking. He said he was going to break his fast with his family, so we appreciate it. So the news that Mohamed Salah gone to Liverpool, transfer at Melwood in the next 24 hours or so. Liverpool fans, let us know what you think on our social media pages. You've got a speedy winger who has a lot to prove in England again. There's more transfer news. There's more transfer news on myjoyonline.com. But if you love your transfer news, got to tell you that there's good news on Joy 99.7 FM. From this Saturday, we have a show dedicated to transfers from 5 to 6 p.m. every Saturday from this Saturday until the end of August. The show is called On the Move, and be looking out for it. We'll be speaking to journalists from around the world who know the players inside out to give us the latest on the transfer stories. That's the sport for now, and Gary Al Smith will be coming back tonight, hopefully, with more news from the sources.